Urgent G-Men fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Big Blue news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Giants 3-round mock draft bolstering the trenches, adding a high upside quarterback. With the NFL draft under a week away, the New York Giants are narrowing down their draft board. Big Blue is doing its due diligence, having final rounds of pre-draft visits with prospects of intrigue. This year, the Giants hold the number 3 overall pick and are in possession of 4 top 100 selections. The first 3 rounds of this year's draft should yield a haul of talent for the Giants. Giants 3-round mock draft taking the BPA at number 3 overall DAE. Giants are faced with a difficult decision with the number 3 overall pick draft a potential quarterback of the future or take one of the few blue-chip prospects in this year's class. Colorado's Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback available but would be considered a reach here, plus the Giants don't necessarily seem to be in love with Sanders. Instead, they'll opt for Penn State edge Abdul Carter in this mock draft, going the best player available route and landing a stud pass rusher. Carter is arguably the best overall player in this year's draft class. The 2024 All-American was named college football's Defensive Player of the Year after totaling 68 combined tackles, 0 sacks, and a nation-leading 24 tackles for loss. Carter possesses a rare blend of power and speed off the edge that gives him all-pro potential as a pass rusher at the next level. The Giants can get by for a year or so with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston under center, lessening their need for a high-impact quarterback prospect. Instead, they can afford to address another position while circling back for a quarterback later. Patching up the offensive line in round 2, the Giants are going to stick to the best player available approach in this mock draft instead of reaching for need. In this simulation, they're going to luck into an exciting prospect who many feel might go day 1 of the draft, but could very well slip into the top of the 2nd round, Ohio State OL Donovan Jackson. Offensive line might not be the Giants' biggest need, as they do seemingly have 5 starters that they feel comfortable rolling into the season. However, that's not to say there isn't room to improve the unit, especially in its long-term outlook. Jackson could be a potential upgrade from day 1, and would greatly improve the future of Big Blue's offensive line. Jackson was a 3-year starter. At left guard for the Ohio State Buckeyes, a position the Giants already have solidified with Jon Runyan Jr. However, Runyan has the versatility to play on either side of the line, so he shouldn't prevent New York from taking Jackson if he is the best player on the board. The G-Men did host a visit with Jackson during the pre-draft process, per Aaron Wilson of KPRC2. The 6'4", 320-pounder surrendered only 2 sacks and 19 pressures across 422 pass-blocking snaps in 2024. He played a fair share of left tackle this past season as well. Valuable versatility for Big Blue, considering the recent injuries suffered by LT Andrew Thomas. Finally taking a quarterback at the top of round 3, there has been a lot of speculation surrounding the Giants' quarterback position. Will they take on at number 3, or will they opt for a more developmental prospect later? In this mock draft, the G-Men wait until round 3 to take a quarterback, selecting Alabama's Jaylen Milroe. Milroe accepted an invitation to the NFL draft, leading many to speculate that he might be a first-round selection after being initially projected as a day 2 or day 3 draft pick. He has since explained that he is attending, not because of assurances that he will be an early selection, but because he wants to experience the full event with his family. Throughout the process, Milroe was typically viewed as a round 2 or round 3 selection. If that holds true next weekend, he could be an enticing option if he is on the board when the Giants are on the clock with the number 65 overall pick. The first pick of the 3rd round, Big Blue will have dibs on whoever is the best prospect available, which could be Milroe. An elite athlete and a superior rusher from the quarterback position, Milroe has rare potential. Likened to Philadelphia, Eagles QB Jalen Hurts coming out of college, the same school, Alabama, Milroe needs refinement as a passer but already has a baseline of talent thanks to his rushing capabilities. He totaled 20 rushing touchdowns in 2024 but threw for a mediocre 16-11 T-Dint ratio. Giants HC Brian Daboll has earned his reputation as a quarterback guru. Milroe could be the ultimate passion project for the Giants' top boss, and there would be no rush to get him in the starting lineup with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston under contract. Milroe could take his time to grow and develop behind two experienced veterans before potentially taking over in 2026. And since he only cost the Giants a third-round pick, there would be nothing stopping them from drafting a quarterback early next year if they're picking high again. Rounding out the mock draft with another addition in the trenches, arguably the biggest need on the Giants roster is the interior of their defensive line, which has yet to be addressed in this mock draft. Thankfully, the position group is stacked, with talent in this year's draft class affording them an opportunity to land an impactful defensive tackle as late as pick number 99. In this mock draft, that defensive tackle is Florida State University's Joshua Farmer. Farmer is a powerful 6'3", 305-pound interior defender that could hold his own on a defensive line alongside Dexter Lawrence. With Lawrence being a nose tackle, Farmer could perfectly fit in as a defensive end in the Giants system. In 2024, Farmer started all 12 games for FSU, totaling 32 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks. The Giants held a top 30 visit with Farmer, indicating they have a level of interest in the Seminoles prospect. If he is on the board at pick number 99, this could be one of those perfect moments where the best player available also addresses the team's biggest need. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest big blue news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now, let's get back to the news. Aaron Rodgers recalls great conversation with Giants Brian Daboll before making their initial moves to address the quarterback position. The New York Giants had some serious interest in free agent Aaron Rodgers. Ultimately, the Giants made the decision to go a different route. They first signed Jameis Winston to a 2-year deal for backup money, which made it clear they were still in the market to add another name to the quarterback room. Instead of waiting for Rodgers, the Giants then signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal to be the presumed starter for the 2025 season. However, Rodgers made an appearance Thursday on the Pat McAfee show and recalled a great conversation he had with Giants head coach Brian Daboll. I will say I did talk to Brian Daboll and had a great conversation with him. I really enjoyed him. A lot. I think he's a lot of fun to talk to and has a beautiful football mind, Rodgers said. I just really enjoyed those conversations. Has a bright football mind. It would have been an interesting dynamic to see Rodgers and Daboll work together. But the Giants ultimately made the decision to go with Wilson as a rental option under center. The Giants are also likely to exit the 2025 NFL Draft with a rookie quarterback. Whether they take one at number 3 overall remains to be seen, but it's expected that some type of addition will be made to the quarterback room during the draft. Giants front office aligned on number 3 pick despite late pre-draft QB workouts. The Giants are reportedly aligned internally on what to do with the number 3 pick as they continue to work out QBs late in the pre-draft process. The New York Giants have been busy late in the pre-draft process as they continue to work out quarterbacks to potentially take at number 3 in the draft next week. The Giants front office has been consistent. They're comfortable with the current state of their quarterback room, with veterans Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston ready to take snaps as needed in 2025 and potentially beyond. The Giants don't feel a need to take their quarterback of the future at number 3, but they want to have as much information as possible. In fact, don't take the franchise's late process workouts as an indication they're split internally on what to do at number 3. In fact, the situation is quite the opposite, according to Diana Rossini of The Athletic. I can tell you from what I can gather. After having some conversations, this is less about coming to a final decision for the Giants, but more about collecting as much information as possible, Rossini said on her Scoop City podcast, to be prepared for as many situations that can happen. Because I think there's a thought out there that if they're watching workouts this late, then they must be split in the building. Time will tell what New York will ultimately do at number 3. Much of it could be dictated by what happens at number 2 with the Cleveland Browns. At this point, Miami Hurricanes quarterback Cam Ward is a likely shoo-in to be selected by the Tennessee Titans at number 1. Was Aaron Rodgers close to signing with Giants? The ex-Jets QB reveals the Giants obviously didn't win the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. They grew tired of waiting around for the 41-year-old veteran and settled on Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and perhaps a quarterback in the 2025 NFL Draft instead. But that doesn't mean there wasn't interest. In an interview on the Pat McAfee Show on Thursday, Rodgers, who remains unsigned, revealed that he had a great conversation with Giants coach Brian Daboll during the height of his free agent frenzy. DraftKings has set the Giants team total wins. Line at 5-5 for the upcoming NFL season. Our complete DraftKings Sportsbook review shows you how to use their platform. I'm not going to get into specifics about every team that I talked to, Rodgers said via the Pat McAfee Show. It was a few teams. I did talk to Brian Daboll and had a great conversation with him. Really enjoyed him a lot. I think he's a lot of fun to talk to and has a beautiful football mind. Him and Josh Allen, he had Josh in Buffalo, and Josh is one of my closest friends in the league. I just enjoyed the conversations. Has a really bright football mind. Rodgers signing with the Giants is a fascinating what-if. The four-time MVP was no slouch last year despite the Jets' 5-12 record. He tossed the 8th most passing yards, 3,197, and passing touchdowns, 28 in the league. He would have been the best QB Giants fans have seen in a long, long time. Last, he'll probably sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who traded for stud wide receiver DK Metcalf this offseason, or retire from football altogether. Let's see how this dramatic saga plays out. And now, G-Men fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Big Blue. I'll be back any moment with more Big Blue news. Jets, Jets, Jets. Let's go Giants.